So, as you guys can probably guess, as I was out killing and collecting the claws for the quest, I hit level 15. And I used to pick up Earthen Rage, but having learned how important at times it can be to have a boost to some of your, other secondary stats like critical strike, haste, mastery, Elemental Blast certainly seemed like a pretty nice choice, where it's a cast ability, and then you get a boost to a stat for about 10 seconds. So Earthen Rage is nice, but it doesn't. Yeah, it seems kind of almost like you can start off with that, but eventually kind of work your way up to that. So.
I've been expecting you.
Do you have the claws I sent you together? Yes, I do. Thank you. The purity with which these beasts hunt is vital in the creation of the next cleansing totem. The Thunderhorn Well is a symbol of my own tribe, and to know it is being desecrated by our own kind raises a fury in me I haven't felt in years. The Grim Totem are a tribe that believe all of Kalimdor should belong to the Tauren. The totem is made. The well may now be cleansed. Kalimdor should belong to the Tauren alone. Their hate and anger led to a corrupting thirst for power. Magatha, their leader, poisoned our High Chieftain. Cairn Bloodhoof and attempted to take Thunderbluff for herself. She was defeated, and the Grim Totem exiled. Now they seek to ruin Mulgore itself as they are driven out. Quickly, you must go to the Thunderhorn Water Well in the north and perform the ritual.
May the eternal sun...
So yeah, that's, the game's way of giving you the little bit of extra backstory in case you didn't already know it on your own. So, of course, there are many players that never read the text. They just accept quickly go to the quest giver, accept the quest, and leave without even reading it. But in case you want to know what was going on, that's one of the game's ways of letting you know what has been happening. Why such and such is happening. So. Again, I wish the whole event with Karen and Garrosh was something that happened in game that I could actually show you, but sadly I cannot, as it was something that you read up on. And it was one of those events that happened leading into the events of the game. Stupid Grim Totem. Alright. I believe there is one more well. And I think it's this one up here. Either he's going to send us there, or someone else up here is going to send us there, I think. I'll tell you what, going through this definitely makes me want to switch over to my my High Mountain Tauren and continue to level her. I was so torn on what I wanted to have her be. I was torn between a druid, a shaman, or a survival hunter. Now you're probably going, why survival? Well, because in Legion, the survival hunter artifact weapon is the weapon that was wielded by Hull and High Mountain. So let's just say the survival hunter artifact is extremely relevant to the High Mountain people. So, yeah. So I just thought it would be fitting for a High Mountain Tauren to be a survival hunter. But that's just me. That's what I ended up deciding on, partly because I haven't had a history of playing survival spec all that much. I want to use that character to really get more familiar with the survival spec. Though these days, you'll usually find Beastmaster hunters in high-level play. I hardly ever see a survival. Sometimes I'll see a marksman hunter, but usually it's Beastmaster. You have done a great honor for both me and my ancestors today. Please take this with my gratitude. I cannot thank you enough for cleansing my tribe's will, and for fighting the savage Grim Totem to do it. But there is more to be done, and it is time for your journey to lead you beyond Bloodhoof Village. Zalman Two Moons stands by the fire in the north end of the village. Go speak with him and learn of the next ritual that you must undertake.
We shall meet again.
Go, better hand wraps. You know what's funny?
Hail. Be careful.
When I found out about some of the changes that are coming in Shadowlands, one of which I actually asked for a long time ago, and apparently I called it, and no one else did. When are we going to get another class that uses mail? I'm kind of getting sick as a shaman main that the only classes that can share like armor types when it comes to loot are hunters and shamans. That's it. They're the only two that wear mail. Like, if you're a leather wearer, you are in good shape, because there's like 4 classes that use leather. But if you use mail, well, you're kind of out of luck.
How?
And shamans and hunters are not entirely coveted by players and groups and guilds and such, so... I sense that you would be coming to me, shaman. I can always recognize one who is trying to pass the rites of the Earth Mother. Again, to be sure that you are ready to leave Bloodhoof Village behind, the next step on your journey will take you far from here. Your path continues to lead onward, across the fields of Mulgore, the eyes of the Earth Mother on you at all times. When you are ready, consume the waters near the tribal fire. Once you have ingested the holy waters, your eyes will be opened, and the spirits will guide you.
Go in peace.
Okay. I'm not in control of this, by the way. My hands are off the keyboard and the mouse while this is happening. Look at that. Whee! Taking us all the way up to the next camp up there. Gosh, this is so different. And I went through a huge chunk of Mulgore in WoW Classic when I made my Tauren Warrior. I decided to try out a Tauren Warrior in WoW Classic, and I went through a huge chunk of Mulgore. And Mulgore was beautiful, even for the way it looked back in the day. Because let's be honest, vanilla did not look all that great, and well, neither does Classic compared to how it looks now, but that's, because of the times, that's just kind of like, they had to work with what they had back then, so. But this was not something you could do in Classic right here, this quest right here, where it's like, hey, we're going to have something take you straight to the next one. Now, in lore, this makes perfect sense. As being part of the ritual for the trials and the rites with the Tauren people, this makes perfect sense. It's just obvious that this was not at all part of the way it used to be back in the days of vanilla, because you had to go there on foot on yourself. Oh gosh, mobs, oh no, I'm overwhelmed, ah! Yeah, that's what it was like.
How may I aid you?
Be not afraid. You have successfully passed the rite of vision. There is but one water well left to cleanse, named after the Wild Mane clan. For this well to be pure, the land must offer the teeth of a fierce predator, the prairie wolf Alpha. Find the Alphas to the north, then return to me when your hunt is finished. Alphas often wander around the base of our mighty city, Thunder Bluff.
Goodbye.
There's more than one Alpha? Huh. Okay.
The winds guide you.
My brother soon stands before Chief Bloodhoof, and it is my honor to make his headdress for him. I want to ask a favor of you while I finish tanning these leather straps. There is not time for me to find enough feathers, and I was wondering, would you gather more for me? You can find feathers of the correct size from the harpies residing far to the north and northwest of Thunderbluff. I need only 6 azure and 6 bronze feathers to complete the design. Oh, that reminds
Ancestors
me.
watch over you.
If we got to 20, I was going to show off my favorite of the Kodo I have. There's a number of Kodo I do not have. I have the 6 that you saw back there in Bloodhoof Village that you can purchase. But I don't have the Black War one. This is one, that I think might involve the PvP stuff. Frightened Kodo apparently is a rare one that you can get in Darkshore and BFA. I haven't learned how you actually get that, though. This is the Brewfest Kodo. This is one of those rare drop ones. Haven't spent enough time in the Brewfest event in order to try and get it. That is in Ice Crown. I believe this is one that you can get in the tournament grounds, I believe. This one as well, you can see with that currency. And then this is the PvP one, which I will never get, because that's the, hey, be one of the top ranked PvP players in order to be able to get one of these mounts. Some really cool ones too, and I'll never get them. Oh, he's a lore keeper. Lore keeper Rain Totem. Only the most valiant and honorable amongst the tribe can earn the honor of being laid to rest at Red Rocks. The area over there, and that's where Cairn now rests. To gain acceptance amongst the elders of Thunderbluff, you must next complete the Rite of Wisdom. Now that you have passed the Rite of Vision, the ancestral spirits of Red Rocks will give you the blessing of our ancestors. Only those who have drunk from the water of seers can gain the blessing. Travel east of Thunderbluff to Red Rocks and seek out the ancestral spirit Papaneeks. Only the most valiant of Tauren are laid to rest at Red Rocks, our sacred burial ground. It is an honor bestowed upon the great warriors who helped found and defend Thunderbluff, and those who have given their lives for the greater good of their tribes and chieftains. But it appears a foul menace has made its way onto our holy land. A band of bristleback interlopers is ravaging the gravesite, and I am too old and past my prime to drive them away. But they must be driven off with force.
Be careful.
We will be, yeah. Of course, we have a quest directing us over there, but yeah, that's where Cairn now lays to rest. Just a quick reminder for those who don't remember, Cairn is someone we met back in Warcraft 3. When we first met the Tauren, ever, in Warcraft 3, Cairn was leading them. And Cairn was awesome. There's a reason that Thrall and Cairn were so, became so close. As Thrall said in Cataclysm, during one of the quest lines towards the end, and I can't replicate how Metzen said it as Thrall, the way he said it, but he just so for those of you who haven't seen the quest line, basically Thrall gets captured by the Twilight's Hammer and is split into 4 separate versions, each having to do with each of the 4 elements, because of course he was a shaman, very close to the elements, so they split him up between the 4 elements, and we, the players, along with Agra, go to each of the 4 different ones to try and save Thrall. And what's cool about the quest is that it's a look into each element represents a certain aspect of Thrall's character. But the one that resonated with me and many other players the most was when we went to the Firelands, the part of him that was being represented with the element of fire, which was Thrall's anger and rage that he keeps buried deep beneath him. And he is just, Metzen is yelling and screaming these things in anger about things like Varian and the things they've done and how he would, respond to him in war, but the one that he said that is the most memorable is the one that he shouted about Garrosh killing Cairn, and he says, Cairn was my brother, and he, I can't, recreate it. You gotta look up the clip of it, but he just shouts it in a way that you could tell he's not necessarily just shouting it in, anger, he's shouting it in pain, because you can tell he really did care for Cairn like he was his brother. He really did care for him in that regard. Ghost Wolf! Yeah! But that's just a moment I've never forgotten, is how, like, angry and hurt Thrall sounded, venting his anger about what happened to Cairn. Because anyone who's played Warcraft 3 saw the bond that developed and grew between Thrall and Cairn, and of course between the Orcs and the Tauren. It's that bond that it's a big reason why the Tauren joined the Horde. Now, we'll discuss this a bit more when we eventually make our way to Thunderbluff and I show off Bane. Is that what I want and hope for is that Bane at some point is going to... And I kind of hoped this was going to happen in the Tauren Heritage questline. We did get to see Cairn briefly. And Bane got to see Cairn briefly in that questline. But what I wanted him to get from that, Bane, was... I wanted Cairn to remind him that it's fine to... Aw, hold on. Can I res him? See if I can res this player. Come on, take the res. See, this is what I was talking about in the last starter zone, wanting to play a class that has a res. I love that the Shaman was Ancestral Spirit, which fits very well with the Tauren, doesn't it? And I'm guessing that player's AFK. That's probably why he died. He just went AFK. Interloper! But going back to what I was saying, what I was wanting was for Bane to be reminded by Cairn that it's fine to be willing to fight when you are standing up for what's right and have to fight for something good like defending your people. Like, it's also fine for Bane to want to be someone who is, pushes for peace and is not incredibly violent or anything. But, it's like what we learned from the Pandaren. It's not about why we fight, it's about what we fight for. Hello, other Tauren players. Buff, extra haste. And something I really hope that they do with Bane's character going forward. Boom. Well, here we are. There he is. There's Bane. Hamul.
May the winds guide you. I am Bane, son of Cairn.
Bane. There he is. Poor Cairn. You would have made an awesome war chief. Now, some of you may think that sounds odd, because some of you may think, well, isn't war chief like the military leader or the overall leader? Yes and no. At this time, the war chief was looked upon as the overall leader for the Horde, though they really are more so just kind of the leader of the military forces. But some people within the Horde just simply treated the war chief as if they like were the king of the Horde, or in Sylvanas' case, later on in Legion, the queen of the Horde, which some of us thought that's what she was basically trying to turn them into. But some of us were thinking, perhaps guys like Lorthamar would be a great war chief because he'd be great at military, but also great at diplomacy. And I find it hard to believe that anyone within the Alliance would actually have disliked Cairn. Because, well, how could you? I mean, there was nothing about Cairn that ever rubbed anyone the wrong way. He never did anything that made people dislike him. I think we would have had we would not, let me put it this way. I don't think the Horde and the Alliance would be in a state of total war right now if Cairn was war chief right now instead of Garrosh. That's just me. And I'll be honest with you guys, I like Hamul a whole lot more than I do Malfurion. Honestly, I would prefer it if Hamul became the overall leader of the Druids instead of Malfurion. But Malfurion is Cenarius's, own personal pupil. So I think Cenarius favors Malfurion a bit more, unfortunately, than Hamul, which is a shame. But yeah, anytime I'm here in Mulgore, I like to come here and pay my respects, as you see, to Cairn. You were the best of us, Cairn. You are still missed to this day.
You have shown great diligence in your yearning to pass the rites of the Earth Mother. We, the ancestral spirits, represent the mighty Tauren who gave their lives bravely to found and protect our great city of Thunderbluff. I hereby pass the duty of that protection over to you.
By the way, just as a reminder, Cairn became one of those ancestral spirits as well. He is now the ancestral spirit over all of Mulgore, which he absolutely deserves. And Magatha is still just walking around these days and hasn't paid for that crime. Even though I had the opportunity to make her pay for it in Legion, but no, we had to have her in our order hall. I was with Moan Earthfury when he demanded that she be kicked out of the order hall, but Nabunda was like, it would be better that we keep her here and under our supervision, instead of just wandering around doing whatever. But she will not have free reign here. And I was like, okay, fine. I see your point. But we could just kill her. Just saying. But I was so, behind Muln, who, demanding that. Because it's understandable why he would. She even just outright calls Cairn pathetic. To our faces in our order hall. I was ready to smack her across the face for saying that. How dare you say that? How dare you insult Cairn's memory like that?
Closer.
And you know that has not been resolved? That whole plotline of, hey, by the way, she was with us, and, now, in BFA, we do find out that Nabundo did take care of the Doomstone. He didn't just let it, leave it alone and let her take it. So we still have the Doomstone. Thank goodness she didn't take it and run. But she's still out there somewhere. And I wonder if she is going to come up at all in Shadowlands. She didn't come up whatsoever in BFA, other than that one time we went to the Maelstrom in BFA. And that was it. Like, we just referenced the Doomstone, but we didn't really reference Magatha at all. At some point, I want Blizzard to let us be able to resolve that by letting us actually have Magatha pay for what she did to Karen. But you guys know how Blizzard is. They love leaving stuff, you know, unsolved, unresolved, and open so that it can be brought up later on. I mean, there were plot threads that went back to Warcraft 1, Warcraft, 2, 3, and, Vanilla that weren't resolved until Legion.
It's too far away.
Here we go. Need to hunt down a few more of these wolf alphas. Or alpha wolves, I guess I can say. I still remember what it was like trying to tread my way through this area as carefully as possible when I tried out my Tauren in WoW Classic. I was just like, and I just, afraid of aggroing anything. And I'm sorry, but I didn't enjoy that. I like as I can go through. It's like, whatever, and that because I can handle whatever I can, because our characters should be able to, in my opinion. I know a lot of people don't like that, but that's just what I've always preferred. I enjoy that more so than just being a powerless, nameless, faceless nobody. Whereas plenty of other people hated the whole Dragonborn thing in Skyrim, I really like that. They just preferred being a nobody, like in games like, well, maybe I shouldn't say Oblivion or Morrowind, because that was sort of not true. But you guys kind of get what I mean, right? The protagonist that we play, who there's nothing special about him. He's a no one. He, the old. You guys remember the old days, right? Hey, we explored Mulgore.
I'm out of range.
The games where it was like, you have no history, you have no name, you have no face, you have no powers, you have nothing special about you. And I know some people absolutely love that, and that's fine. Me, I prefer actually having some extra stuff when it comes to my character that I'm making. It's one of the reasons I love Dragon Age Origins. The multiple options of a background story and shaping our character and such, with whether it, with our background story, with our powers, with our class and all that. That was something I really enjoyed. And that's something I enjoy in WoW. So this is all of Mulgore now explored, except for Stone Talon Pass, but that's not important. That's not really part of Mulgore. Not really. Now, don't mistake me. I'm not saying that everything has to be easy. I just prefer a little bit more extra flavor when it comes to our characters, as opposed to just nothing to it and then just go from there. I know some people that have said that they prefer the days of vanilla when we were just a nobody and just adventured the place, you know. But I like that by the time we got to, you know, later on expansions such as Warlords or Legion, we were looked upon as, you know, the leaders and the main characters. We had the rank of commander in Warlords, for goodness sakes, you know, and then we became the leaders of our class order halls in Legion. And I liked that partly because our characters had earned that by that point. We had earned that. But some people still want to be a nameless, you know, nobody, you know, just a random face in the crowd. And you know, at that point, it just wouldn't have made sense if that was the case. Ah, very good. I can feel the sacrifice of the land in this offering, and my spirit swells with sadness and pride. Your cleansing of the Winterhoof and Thunderhorn wells is spoken among the spirits, young Papaneeks. The Wildmane totem is made, and your last task lies ahead. The Wildmane water well lies north of Thunderbluff. Perform the ritual. Heal the land of the Grim Totem's poisons. Let clean water flow once again.
Be careful.
Hail.
Well done. You have sent those foul bristlebacks a clear message. They will think twice before attempting to meddle in this holy spot again.
We shall meet again. What brings you here?
Ah, thank you for your help. My part in my brother's ceremony is almost complete. Giving him his headdress and witnessing the ceremony are all my duty requires of me.
Go in peace.
Okay. Go. Here we go. Alright.
How may I aid you?
Tell me a story, Scorn.
Hold on a second. Clear out my inventory first.
Farewell. What brings you here?
Come closer, young one. In my time, I could hear the flutter of a prey's beating heart. But now you must speak up if you want your words heard. Tell me a story, Scorn. I have run through these plains for many, many seasons, and I have hunted great beasts, and I had never been bested until I faced Ghost Howl. Long ago, the massive wolf was an ally to the Tauren, and fought bravely against the Burning Legion, but he was wounded savagely by a demon, and the tear in his flesh never healed. Eventually, it drove Ghost Howl mad. Now he roams the plains in agony, seeking an end to his pain. To my shame, when we fought, I lacked the strength to slay him.
Go in peace.
That's sad. Alright, one more well to cleanse, guys. Let's do it and thwart the Grim Totem's pettiness. All because Magatha got greedy and made a move for power to take over Thunder Totem to push her, well, her Nazi agenda. Tauren are superior. They should rule over all. They are the superior race. Yeah. Yeah. Die, Grim Totem, die! By the power of the elements. And stop. An actual Grim Totem. That's funny.
cleanse these waters. Spirits of the waters, aid me in cleansing these waters.
Hey, Neptulon, would you mind helping me cleanse these waters? What? What? He becomes my buddy later on. And the shaman overall, he's like, hey, sup? Oh, you want me to help you against the Bring Legion? Okay. And I'm like, hey, didn't you die to that Leviathan thing back in Kata? He's like, no, I took care of that thing. It's my pet now. Because I'm just that awesome.
Well met.
You have done it. You have cleaned the wells and healed our land. Bloodhoof Village is grateful. May the wind whisper your deeds for 100 seasons, and may the waters of Mulgore remain clean forever. The wells are cleansed, and Mulgore's waters run sweet and clear once more. You have saved us, but you have also uncovered grim happenings. The actions of the Grim Totem must be made known. It is time for you to enter Thunder Bluff, our great city atop the Mesa. Go to our leader, Bane Bloodhoof, son of Cairn. He must hear of this.
Go in peace.
I'm guessing he was there, paying respects to his father, and then he left to head back to Thunder Bluff. So, of course, there's a few different ways you can make your way into Thunder Bluff from down here if you can't fly or if you're not using the Windmaster. So, usually, like, you can be able to walk up here, take the elevator up here, but there's a few other elevators as well around Thunder Bluff, since, of course, this is a city that is on 3 separate hills with bridges connecting to them. And there's one of the elevators right there. In fact, there's 2 elevators. Yeah. Oh, I didn't catch it. Well, I suppose I'll just have to take this one. We're actually approaching the end of our time here in Mulgore. So, back in Vanilla, or in WoW Classic, if you went over here, you could usually find Hamul and Magatha right out there, and Cairn would be right here, where we're going to find Bane. Obviously, with the way things change, you know, to reflect what's going on in Cataclysm. But let me just say that when I did get here in Classic and I saw Cairn, I was just so happy. I was like, Cairn, you're alive! I gave him all the slash hugs. Because of course I did. So with only a few gold, there's no way I can be able to show you guys off the Heritage set. I wish I could, but I don't have nearly enough... For a moment, I couldn't tell if that was an NPC or if that was a player. But I wouldn't be able to show you guys the Heritage set for the Tauren. Hey, Bane. It's funny. I feel like I just saw you just a couple moments ago at where your father is at rest.
The
May he
Tauren
rest in peace.
stand proud.
Greetings, young one, and welcome to Thunder Bluff. You will find safe refuge from the burdens of the world here. All denizens of the Horde are welcome here. The spirits of the present and past come alive here in this sacred place. My friend, honor them, and in doing so, honor yourself. Welcome to Thunder Bluff. You have done great things for our people. Tell me of your journey. Some see our people as gentle giants or noble savages. They have never seen us fight against our own kind, against betrayers from within. The Grim Totem were offered mercy and exile, and they have scarred their own home to spite us. They will no longer be tolerated in Mulgore. I have already sent our warriors ahead to drive them out through Stone Talon Pass to the north. You have fought bravely against the Grim Totem. I ask that you join the battle again. Go and help deal with this final blow.
Honor those who came before us.
This is the quest to go into Ragefire Chasm, which is kind of funny.
Stand strong. Stay true.
Alright, so now... Oops. Yeah, we have to head up here to deal with one of the last Grim Totem that's in this area. Orno Grim Totem. So, of course, what's funny about Thunderbluff is the amount of time you can be able to be like, whee, and just jump off. And plummet to your death. I very much doubt... I don't recall being able to actually survive the drop here. So it's like, yeah, you gotta take the elevator. But this quest right here, I believe, should be the final, like, the big finale for the questing in Mulgore. I mean, we've gotten a quest directly from Bane to go take out one of the top Grim Totem in this area. After all that they have been doing, trying to poison the water wells, just to spite the Tauren people. Because that's very Grim Totem. Oh, you're gonna exile us? Well, we'll poison your water supply. So, of course, he has some Grim Totem defending him. It's alright.
I have the power of the elements to aid me. I don't mind if I have to go through an army of Grim Totem to fight my way to you. I'll take out every one of them.
Hey, Wind Shear. What many consider one of the best interrupt abilities in the entire game. I can't tell you how many times people have been like, hey, Shaman, we're looking at you when it comes to the interrupts in Mythic Plus because of the 12-second cooldown.
I've had enough of this. So have I, Grim Totem. Oh, Bane, you've shown yourself. Get him!
It took a coward's poison and the fury of Hellscream to bring my father down. What chance have you?
This isn't over, Bane.
It is for you.
We're done here. Mulgore will no longer suffer the hatred of the Grim Totem. I will meet you again in Thunderbluff.
So that right there is one of my personal favorite moments involving Bane. Because that's one of the few times we've seen him really go all out when it comes to a fight. And really, like, show that side of him. The rest of the time, he's usually holding himself back, trying to be very peaceful, very passive. And it feels like the side that we just saw there from Bane, we need to see more of that going forward. Someone who is willing to fight when the time comes. You know, because that's what his father did. Cairn was a peace, you know, someone who was striving for peace, but he was not shy to fight when the time came. Oh, hold on. Leave trade chat. Alright, so I think we'll turn this in, because I recall that being like the last big quest of Mulgore. Which makes sense. We just had teamed up with Bane to take out one of the leaders of the Grim Totem there. There was a line I missed here where he said, "You will die in shame like your pathetic father." And then, of course, Bane, you know, bounced back and pointed out, "It took a coward's poison and the fury of Hellscream to bring my father down." Which is funny, because it really wasn't the fury of Hellscream, because Garrosh landed only one hit, while Cairn just basically danced around him throughout the fight. Which goes to show how awesome Cairn was and how pathetic Garrosh actually was as a warrior. Some people think Garrosh was a great warrior. No, he wasn't.
How may I aid you?
Welcome back. What was done was not for revenge or pride. It was simply to protect Thunderbluff and all of our people from torment and fear. Today, Mulgore is safe once more. The Earth Mother thanks you for all your brave deeds. As do I. You have earned your reward. May you be welcome in Thunderbluff always. Much has changed outside of Mulgore. The world is torn, and our Horde allies have turned down dark paths. We must guide them, even in the darkest hour. We will bravely hold our heads high and honor the Earth Mother in all we do. You must go, Papaneeks, and be this example. Go to Orgrimmar. Tell Saurfang how the Grim Totem were driven out. Let him know our pride and discipline, our strength and sorrow. Tal the Sky Tower will send you on your way. Go in peace, and never forget your people.
So yeah, we're being directed to go speak with Saurfang because of MMO time. But back in Cataclysm, we would have been going to speak to, well, Garrosh. Though I think Bane would have been on better terms with the Nazgrim at this time, as opposed to Garrosh. Because obviously Bane would not have really cared for Garrosh, considering that he was partly responsible for killing his father. But yeah, during this point in time, like, the Horde was basically becoming Garrosh and the orcs loyal to him and his cause. And you could, well, we'll discuss this more in the next starter zone when we head to Tirisfal in the Eastern Kingdoms to play our Forsaken. We'll talk a lot more about Sylvanas and the Forsaken and the Apothecary and all that when we get there. More than likely in the next video. And then you got Vol'jin and the Trolls with Bane and the Tauren. Also, keep in mind, and well, I'll show this when we do the Goblin Starter Zone. The Goblins were basically just now joining the Horde, partly due to them finding and helping out Thrall. But again, I'll show that later on. But yeah, it wasn't exactly going all that well, in terms of the unity amongst the Horde during this time. But yeah, I just find it funny he's sending us to talk to Sourfang. Obviously, that would not have been the case back then. Unless it really was... Because remember, Sourfang was still one of the High Overlords in Orgrimmar. He was a High Overlord in Orgrimmar in Vanilla. So, like, if you did this in WoW Classic, you would find Varrock Sourfang as a High Overlord. As High Overlord Sourfang in Orgrimmar. And I was like, yeah! So, I suppose it's possible that we could have, been going to speak to him, but it's also likely we could have either been sent to either speak to Garrosh or even Nazgrim. Because, well, we know Nazgrim wasn't really a believer in Garrosh's cause. He was just simply, being the honorable general following the, orders, but also staying loyal to the oath he gave. Feeling that if he stopped being loyal to that oath, that he would be dishonorable. It's not entirely accurate, but that's how he thought. But anyways, I already defended Nazgrim earlier when I was talking about when we did the Orc Star Zone. So and of course this especially comes to a head when we get to Pandaria. Like, obviously, the full-on rebellion and all that really, became a strong point during Pandaria as opposed to during Cataclysm, where right now it's like, yeah, you can see all that is going on, but at the same time, it's like, okay, there's all these other things going on with, the Twilight's Hammer, the Cataclysm, Deathwing, yeah, there's other stuff going on right now. So we couldn't really focus on the whole Garrosh and division amongst the Horde thing until Pandaria. So don't really know why I did that, but it's kind of a force of habit, I guess you could say. So it looks like I'm not going to reach level 20, so I won't have a chance to show you these mounts again. So I really thought that some of these zones, with the way this leveling is, that was going to end up hitting 20. But then again, some of these zones, we've only done, like, the initial zone, and then that's it. That will more than likely change in the next starter zone, when we also carry it over, not just from Tierspell, but also into Silverpine. Because we are going to do Silverpine Forest as our Forsaken, because it feels very much like it is a part of that. There's Eitrig. For a moment, I thought that was Gul'dan. I was like, what, did they put a Gul'dan NPC in here for a moment or something?
Now is not the time for pleasantries.
What brings you to me, Shaman? The Grim Totem have been forced out of Mulgore? You must be a fierce warrior to earn the praise of Bane Bloodhoof. The Horde needs heroes, ones that hold honor in their hearts. Very well, Shaman. I accept you as one of us. For the Horde!
We are the true might.
And that
Alamnor.
is the end of the Tauren Starter Zone experience. So say goodbye to our Tauren Shaman here. I like Mulgore. A lot of cool stuff, and it's so beautiful. That's going to change in the next Star Zone when we head over to the Eastern Kingdoms to be risen up from the dead and join the Forsaken. Stay tuned.